Hello, my beautiful book butterflies, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Monica, and today I'm going to be talking about a new genre that I've recently started reading. I wanted to start reading a new genre, so I decided to start with thrillers and like murder mysteries. And I read You after watching the show. It was very good. And then I picked up a book that I have seen a couple of other YouTubers talk about. And this one's more of a psychological thriller. Whew. And it's some intense stuff. It is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. And guys, this book, again, it's different. I don't know the exact distinction between murder mystery and thrillers, but I know that this is more of a psychological thriller because they talk a lot about, psychology. The main character is called Marianne, and she is a group therapist, and she decides to visit her adoptive daughter Zoe, who is also her niece. And she decides to visit her because she's very upset. The setting for the book takes place in a university, so for those of you who are into dark academia, I highly recommend this book. It is definitely dark. And not to mention, the descriptions of the school are so beautiful. I felt like I was a student in Cambridge walking around and just experiencing it all, going through the dorms, walking along, seeing the little cafes and restaurants around the school. The school's huge, and it seems like it's almost like a castle-like vibe. It's beautiful. It's stunning. I am, just as a follow-up, I am going to read certain passages from the book, but don't worry, it's not going to have any spoilers in it. It's just to give you guys a taste of what I'm talking about. Through these stories, Marianne fell in love with the vision of England and Englishness, an England that had quite possibly never existed beyond the pages of these books, an England of warm summer rain and wet greenery and apple blossom, winding rivers and willow trees, and country pubs with roaring fires, the England of the famous five, and Peter Pan and Wendy, King Arthur and Camelot, Wuthering Heights and Jane Austen, Shakespeare and Tennyson. And then years later, when she first arrived in Cambridge as a student, it was so beautiful, so dreamlike. She felt as if she had stepped into a fairy tale and into an enchanted city from a poem by Tennyson. I'm not sure if I'm saying that poet correctly, Tennyson, but okay. So excuse me if I'm not. Yeah, just again, the author has a way of using such beautiful lyrical descriptions, and it made the aesthetic so nice. One of the aesthetics for this book is Greek mythology. There is a constant reference to a figure. It does have Greek mythology in it, so again, I love Greek mythology. I'm a big fan, and I'm gonna share another little passage because it is so darn good. Reading this, you just I felt enchanted. I mean, it is dark and disturbing, don't get me wrong, but it's beautifully dark. So if that's your thing, if that's your what you're into, yeah, this book has it. Let me find it. Let me find the part I'm talking about. She was stuck, paralyzed, as Demeter had once been, when Hades kidnapped her beloved daughter Persephones and took her to the underworld to be his bride. Demeter broke down, overwhelmed by grief. She refused to move or be moved. She simply sat and wept, and all around her the natural world grieved with Demeter. Summer turned to winter, day turned to night. The earth fell into mourning, or more accurately, melancholia. Okay, right? It's so beautiful. I loved it. I loved reading it. I also wanted to mention some of the themes. The themes for this, I don't know if it should be more of a trigger warning, but there is death, grief, loss, moving forward, sex, and it's like the main character Marianne has like a ghost haunting her, but you never see a figure. It's not like a it's not like a character it's present in a way that she lost someone, but it's something that's always in her mind more than a figure that she like talks to or something. You know what I mean? I hope so. So again, going back into the premise of the story, it takes place at the school at Cambridge University, and there's a series of murders that have been going on, and because of this she is attracted to it, and she decides she wants to she takes it upon herself to solve the case. The girls that have been murdered are all from a specific group at the school that are called the Maidens, and she heavily suspects the teacher of the Maidens from that like little group society to have been the one that killed his students. And throughout the whole story, it's just her finding clues, and they all seem to be directing to him. Now, what I enjoyed about this is that it's not quite obvious who the murderer is. I mean, that's always fun, right? There are, especially in the beginning, you meet a couple of other male characters, and they are all very suspicious. Like, I don't know if it was just me, but I was reading it and I was just like, you're off, you're weird, you know? And I was just like, it could be anyone in the end of the day. You know, the author can try to sway you. Guys, this book's plot twist, I cannot tell you enough. It shook me to my bones. It disturbed me. So it was, to say the least, it was just unexpected. The plot twist is a true twist. You don't see it coming. And if you did, please write down in the comments if you did and how you got to that conclusion, because I'd like to know. It is twisted. I mean, obviously, it's dark murder in a school and all that, but it is, like, I don't know if it's because I also had an experience when I was younger that it kind of triggered me, because I remember reading it and I had to stop, and as soon as I was done, like, there was a moment where, the last like 30 pages or so, you're reading your book, and everything's coming together and you're starting to understand everything, and I had to take a moment to pause, and I was like, okay, let me rush through these 30 pages and then really like feel what I need to feel. And I was just disturbed. I mean, will I read this book again? Not anytime soon. If I'm ever in the mood to read this book again, I will probably read his other famous book, which is called, what was it called? Oh, The Silent Patient. If you guys read The Silent Patient, please let me know down below, because I want to know your thoughts, your feelings, and if you get what I mean, if you also read The Maidens and that like really sick twist, if they have something like that, because I would like to know ahead of time. Again, I refuse to do spoilers for this, so I won't say anything. But yeah, it was completely... I loved it because of that. I loved that it was so twisted and different, but I will say a small part of me was disappointed, because I've yet to read true, like, a detective murder mystery, and I realized after watching Agatha Christie's movie Death in the Nile, I like it. I like guessing who the murderer can be, and me having an opportunity to like know, like, okay, kind of like go along with the protagonist and be like, okay, we share a mind, you could be that clever too, and just like, analyze and come up with like a good conclusion as to, as to what happened to the crime, or just to find out who the murderer is and why and all of that. And I feel like the author almost doesn't give you a chance to really know, yeah. The reading this, honestly, it flew by. The chapters are so fast. I mean, they're like only a couple of pages, so I flew by reading this, and it was very good. I will definitely keep this for, you know, if I have the mood to read it again, and maybe, who knows, yeah, maybe the along the way excuse me, maybe along the way, the second time reading this, I will find better clues, but I doubt it, but I will see in the future if I can figure it out again. If you reread the book too, mention it down below. See, tell me anything, please do. I know I normally say no spoilers. Maybe for other people reading the comments, you could put like spoiler, and then like people could know, because I want to know, like, truly, how are your feelings on this? Like, I was shook, and I mean, isn't that the whole point of reading though? Is just to feel something, and I was not expecting to feel that. But again, it's a dark academia psychological thriller, so I mean, obviously it is gonna rattle you, and it does that. And so if you want to experience all these emotions and feelings, pick up the book, because you'll get that. And I hope I'm being vague enough for you to also be curious enough to pick up the book, because I would love to start a conversation about this. It was beautiful. It was beautifully dark and extremely different than any other book I've read. Again, I'm new to the genre, but this was different from what I normally read. So if you guys have any recommendations of your own, a book after reading The Maidens that isn't The Silent Patient, let me know, because I did enjoy reading it. I'm probably gonna start a detective fiction after this. I want to pick up one of Agatha Christie's novels, so I will let you guys know how I feel about that when the time comes. All in all, I did enjoy reading this and reading the various Greek mythology references. I know I read a passage from talking about Demeter, which I feel like is more mainstream, like that's more of a popular Greek story that people know, like, you know, Hades and Persephone's. But there is also other Greek references that completely I've like never heard of before. And I also enjoyed, you know, learning more about, you know, different Greek mythologies, because it's always fun to learn more, especially when you're like a, you know, mythology buff. The professor is actually, his name is Edward Fosca, and he's the Greek tragedy professor at Cambridge, and that's kind of how it all starts. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my video, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and let me know if you've read this, and again, your thoughts and all that, because I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and have a blessed day. Bye.